How's it going? I hope you're having a good day. For this video, I want to go over my gameplay settings for Battlefield 1. Granted, you may know a lot of these settings, but a few of them you may not be aware of, especially if you haven't looked in the past 6 to 8 months, because there's been a few updates, and with the January patch, I think there's supposed to be a few more. So, of course, this is where we can change the chat log, the HUD, etc. All right, when it comes to hit indicators, really this is dependent on you as well. You can have all these one color or whatever. I think with the January update, there's going to be an extra one for when you get a headshot kill. Anyways, the major thing here is going to be under the mini map. Now, as you can see, there are a lot of options, and you may not know what they all are. What you're really going to be looking for is down here under the mini map. Now, when it comes to texture opacity, I haven't really messed with it much at all. I may turn this up and mess with it a little bit later just to see. Now, when it comes to rotate with a view, I personally have this on, as obviously it says over on the right that it rotates the mini-map with the player view. That's something I prefer because I can quickly find where enemies are relative to my position. I don't have to worry, think about it all, whatever. I know, oh, okay, this guy's over to my right, this guy's over to my left, or whatever. So before I get into these three, I want to go down to the mini-map size. I have mine set at 135%. This helps me out quite a bit overall. Sometimes it may be a bit too large for certain situations, but it really works for me, especially because I can kind of see what's going on in the corner of my eye a little easier. And when I look down at the mini-map, I can see a little more. Now, you may be wondering here what these three are. Well, this is your mini-map radius here. So you can change this individually for if you're flying in other vehicles or on foot. So this is going to be in meters. So this will be a radius of 140 meters, the way I have it set up now. So these right here change the radius of how much the mini-map shows. This is just strictly the size. This is how much it's showing. So, for example, here, it will show you 140 meters away from you on the map in each direction. Now, personally, I'm probably going to change this back to 151. I think that's what it defaults as. And I'll show you a little more in a minute that will hopefully help you out quite a bit while you're in game. So here's what I have my opacity set at. Right here, personally, I've been using this now. This helps me out when it comes to seeing enemies a little easier. When they're spotted anyway. And then ADS, so this is for when you aim down sight, and I already know where the objectives are and the gadgets for the most part. I like to have that up there just a little bit. That's just me. Friendly soldier opacity at 80. I'm still kind of playing around with this one, but for sure I have enemy soldier at 100 just because it's easier to see them when they're spotted that way. Now off to the advanced tab, something you may not know about, it's been out for quite some time, is the camera shake scale. So this adjusts how much the camera shakes when there's explosions and such near you. Of course, you can set this to 100. Lowest you can set it is 30. I think the default is 50, but I recommend putting it at 30. This means your camera will shake a little less when you're around a lot of explosions, and this will help you aim just a little bit easier. Of course, this is where you can change all of these. When it comes to soldier auto leaning, sometimes I get really close to corners and I'm just peeking one direction, not trying to peek around the corner, but just trying to use the corner as cover, and my guy will lean and it'll screw me up, throw my aim off, or I won't be able to aim at the person anymore because it has me aiming at a wall all of a sudden. So I turn this off so it doesn't do that. I don't use the leaning at all in this game. Granted, I do use the peek sometimes, so I leave that on. Auto leaning screwed me up just way too much, so instead of using it, I just don't use it. I wish there was a button to maybe turn that on and off. You just quickly do it in game, so you could turn it on and off and use it as you need to. But since that's not really an option, I just turn it off. That's going to be up to you, though, whether or not you want to use it. Now, most of these are going to be really up to you. This one, if you don't know, it says over on the right that if you are the squad leader, if this is yes, then you can just look at the flag and hit the spot button, which on PC is going to be Q, and it will give your squad an order to that. Otherwise, if you have this off, the only way to give an order is to hold Q and then drag down and select which flag you want your squad to attack or defend. Now, when it comes to you guys using controllers, whether that's on PC or console, This is going to be a little up to you as well. When I was on console, I used aim assist auto rotation. I mean, this really helps out a lot with a lot of the weapons. When it comes to aim assist slowdown, that usually screwed me up. So personally, I would have that off if I was using a controller. But since I don't have aim assist anyways, it really doesn't matter what I have these set to. Network performance graph, of course, if you are having network issues, you can come in here, turn this on or show on problems, and it will give you a graph over on the right side of your screen that will show how your network is performing, whether it's ping, latency, etc. Half of that stuff I don't know anything about, so I use it sometimes. I looked at it before for packet loss to monitor that because I was having packet loss issues at one point. Aim lead indicator, this is for people with higher pings, where they changed it several months ago, something that if you have a higher ping, now you actually have to lead your targets by even more to compensate for your crappy connection to the server. Anyways, going back to the mini map over here, this is actually quite important, and I'll show you why. I'm going to show you a tip here. If you go to key bindings, and I believe it's on soldier here, and boom, right here, zoom mini map. This right here is really helpful in combination with what you have selected there. I'll go into an empty server right here, and I will show you guys what I mean. All right, so now that we're in a server, I'm going to go back to the gameplay options here. Like I said, right here, boom. This is at 151, right? So you may be asking yourself, oh, well, what's this exactly in combination with the zoom mini map? Well, as you know, we have this where you can enlarge the mini map, which by default is M. In here, adjust the mini map while keeping the size the same. So as you can see, it's 151, 302, and 76. So it roughly just halves it and then multiplies it by 2. And so you have a middle value, a low value, and a high value, and this is what you can scroll through. Now, what I was saying it could be important for is, say you're sniping, you can change this to 300 meters, and if there's somebody on the edge of that mini-map, and you know where they're at, and you could see them, well, now you know that they're 300 meters out. You can adjust your sight, zero it for 300 meters, put it on their face, and you're good to go. Anyway, that's what I have for this video. I hope it helps you out, especially the mini-map tip there when it comes to zooming. I'm not sure if this is a function on consoles, but for sure it's on PC. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good day. Ram Tide out.